Welcome to Implausible Nature, your home for all things Black Templars. On today's video, we are talking the big points changes that GW just dropped for the Nephilim Warzone update. We're going to talk about the biggest winners for Space Marines and see how it affects us building our lists as Templars. We're not going to go over every change in detail. We're going to talk about probably the most important ones because there were some changes to some stuff that either we don't use or doesn't really, wasn't enough of a change for us to really matter that much. So without further ado, let's get into it. Bob, what is your biggest takeaway? What's the big winner here for Space Marines and these points changes?
Okay, so I'm not going to go into the Black Templar specific ones, but there is a unit that really kind of caught my eye right away when these were released. And that is the Eliminators with the free Las Fusils. Now, Alex will be like, I hate it. I don't
I
want
do hate it. I do hate it. Snipers are for cowards.
well, technically, they're not snipers with the Las Fusils. So, uh, dropping their points from 5 to 0 and basically having 75-point unit with Las Fusils is ridiculously amazing, especially if we are not in Uphold the Vow and we're using something like Accept Any Challenge so that you're going to get that cover save plus the camo cloaks. So they're
Which is really
ridiculously,
crucial.
yeah, ridiculously durable. The really big thing for me on this one is you have a cheap unit that can conceal position in your list that has long range damage 3 weaponry, which is something that we very much struggle to have on most of our lists. Take a 3-man unit of Las Fusils initially, and first turn you can throw uh, some some damage down the field, especially if you combine them with the Redemptors with that plasma damage 3. You can do some damage, knock out some vehicles right away or some elite infantry. So that was one that really kind of hit it for me right away on that. Another one that I think is kind of big on that, unless you want to add something to that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't personally care for Eliminators, and that reason has nothing to do with their gameplay. You're right, they are an extremely efficient unit, especially being able to take last fusils at 75 points. With concealed
Ridiculous.
positions, they're great cover save. There's no denying it's an excellent unit, and it does, as you said, fill a gap that Space Marines have, which is long range firepower that is multiple damage, greater than 2, which is really important. Um, my problem with them is purely from a fluff perspective because I don't like snipers as a Templar player, as some of you may or may not know. So it's just one of those things. But there's definitely no denying their efficiency and that adding them to your list is gonna make your lists that much better.
Yeah. No, honestly, for 75 points, you can take multiple units, combine them with your eradicators, and you have plenty
Of
of
anti-tank fire, yeah.
anti-tank, yeah, knocking those things out. So the other one I kind of want to talk about that's kind of bringing some eyebrows up is going to be the assault squad. So there was a big change in how the assault squad works, and it potentially might see them on some lists now. So basically, what happened with the assault squad is they made their jump packs free, their plasma pistols are free, flamers are free, and all the sergeant upgrades are minus 5 points. So the vast majority of the equipment on the assault squads are free.
Hmm.
So now you have a 90-point unit that can be a great harassment unit on the other side of the board, whether you're using him as a deep strike to kind of clear some chaff or maybe to drop in on the objective. You got some flamers in there, maybe a plasma. or just something, a cheap unit to get on an objective uh, that are reasonably fast, because now they don't have to pay for their jump packs. So, I mean, you might see some use.
Yeah, I have been saying for a long time, that they need to make uh, the jump packs free on assault squads. And the reason is to separate them from Vanguard vets, because the way they were costed before, they were so close in points to a Vanguard vet squad who has another attack base and can take basically any melee weapon or piece of melee gear that they want, that there was zero reason to ever run the assault squad, because there was like Vanguard vets were just categorically better. Now that that's free, you can get double flamers for free. They are for 90 points. They are a great little harassment unit. They can deep strike. They're fast. Are they gonna like tear stuff up in close combat? No, they're still bad at that. But they could clear, guardsmen off of an objective or equivalent, right? They can clear light chaff and screening units, with their flamers and a charge potentially. They do have Hammer of Wrath, so if you wanted, you felt like you just needed that extra couple of mortal wounds to kill something, you could do that. They also have the Melt a Bomb keyword, so you could melt a bomb a vehicle, which is pretty cool. They're just a nice little utility unit for a very inexpensive price. So if you're looking for something to do things like engage on all fronts, or actions, or the retrieve, I guess it's Nephilim data now. Those kind of secondaries, you'll be able to do that. Um, with them, and not pay a premium anymore for them. So I think it's something. I don't think they're like a must take or anything like that. I think they're a unit that is, usable now.
Yeah.
Are they great? No, but are they terrible? No, they're definitely usable. So
Yeah, and especially in a fast attack slot that where we typically don't take anything, you
yep.
got 90 points. Why not, right? Yeah. One
Um,
thing to note with these, though, I would not go out and buy the assault squad just for this. So use them if you got them, if you got the
yeah,
extra points, but don't
yeah.
buy them because, yeah, that
Well,
would
and
not be.
and and most Marine players probably have enough bits that you could just put together enough dudes to accommodate this between flamer bits and whatever else.
Yeah.
You can probably buy jump packs pretty cheaply off of eBay and just magnetize them. Fortunately, I have 5 of these guys painted, so that have been sitting in their foam since who knows how long. So they might actually see the table for me.
Yeah, maybe.
So
All right. So we do have some more changes. I'm, like I said, not going to go through them all, but the other one that's kind of big for me is the Gladiator drop. 15 points down on all versions of this. So that makes them in the range of viability, in my opinion,
yep,
especially if you're looking at the Reaper and the Valiant.
yeah,
Uh, just specifically the Valiant, actually. The
hmm,
Reaper does do a lot of puts out a lot of anti-infantry shots, but it's not at the same ranges, and it makes you get really close for anti-infantry weaponry, which really doesn't really speak to me. But you have the Valiant, especially if you add on the Black Templars upgrade for the multi melta. You got 3 multi meltas and the twin las
hmm,
talon.
yeah,
You got to get within 24 inches, and you're just going to blast anything.
yep. I really like this. It's funny. We were actually talking about this before the points drop. You know, that I felt like if the Valiant got a points drop to put it, close to where what we run the Redemptor with the the Gatling and the Icarus pods, 195 points. That I think it would be viable, because especially given its firepower, and I think that it definitely is 100% playable now and is actually a good option. I think the durability is probably pretty close to the Redemptor. You do lose that -1 damage, but you are tough 8, which is an important break point. And you do lose a wound. I think it's 12 wounds versus 13. Um, but that tough 8 will help you. It can take smoke launchers for 5 points, or auto launchers, basically smoke launchers. For 5 points, probably worth it, because -1 to shoot against this thing is going to be great. You do gain a little bit of movement. It's an extra 2 inches. And then in exchange for the anti-infantry firepower, you get much more reliable anti-tank firepower. The plasma is great. I love the macroplasma on the Redemptor. The trouble is it's D6 shots. And right when you need it to be, it could fail you at that critical moment. Versus you're always going to get 4 multi-melta shots and 4 last talon shots at 24 inches. So you're getting a lot more anti-tank firepower for similar points. You lose out on the infantry firepower, but that's okay. We have enough other things that we could, do to focus on that. And then of course you can, for 20 points more, you can add another multi-melta. So I think it's definitely worth a look to slot in instead of maybe a third Redemptor, or if you're not running Redemptors and you want to run this with air ads and maybe Hellblasters or something like that. I think it definitely can fit in our lists. So I'll certainly be trying it out.
Yeah, it's reasonably decent. It's something that you honestly
And it's a
can
cool model. It's
can
a really cool
consider.
model. So I'm glad that
I'm
it's
just going to touch
back.
on one unit because I've seen it in the Discord quite a bit. Just going to touch on it though. The Land Raiders went down 20 points each, but they are still not worth it. So
Nope.
they
It's
need to
too
be.
expensive. 245 points is way too much, especially for a Land Raider Crusader. For the amount of fire that it puts out, assault cannons are terrible. Hurricane bolters are okay, but it only has 2 of them. And you're basically paying a lot of points for a transport capacity that we don't really need. Yes, we have the cool strat that's a gimmick, that lets us jump out and charge something from it. Um, but the problem is that Land Raiders are big, huge targets for big, huge guns that a lot of our enemies have, and it's going to get blown off the board probably before you get a chance to do anything with it, and it's not going to make its points back. So that's unfortunately, it needs to go down at least another 45 points before I'd even consider putting it on the table. So, something that I was very excited about, and a lot of us are too, is Primaris Crusader squads now have free power fists, free power weapon, power sword for the power axe for the sword brother, and he can take the pyre pistol for free now, which isn't a bad trade if you want, some extra free auto hits. I think it's a decent comparison between that and the heavy bolt pistol. And then Pyre Blasters went down to 5 points, which is what we've been saying forever. If they're not going to be damaged too, they really should be 5 points. And I think they are actually usable now. And the auto bolt rifle also cost went away. So now, whether they're armed with the auto bolt rifle or chainsword and bolt pistol, the Primaris Crusader guys are all 19 points a model, which is awesome. So if you were running Crusaders before, they just got better categorically with a 0 point upgrade.
Yep. This is the thing that's really kind of been driving a lot of discussions. There's been some talk out there like, hey, was this a mistake? Was this not a mistake? We're just going to opt to the it was intentional, specifically because of other armies got similar treatment. Death Guard comes to
Yep.
mind, where all their stuff now became free. You have the Imperial Guard in the last one; all their stuff was free. So my suspicion is Games Workshop wants to push some sales on some Crusader squads to try and bring them in, but really that's kind of our main unit that is known for, right? So you want to be
Mm-hmm.
able to put them on the board, and this is going to be a way to bring close combat prowess to a unit that, traditionally now that we've been just taking the chainswords because of cost, right?
Yeah,
Adding that extra $20, 20
20
points
bucks.
to the unit for those two power fists really wasn't worth it if you were taking two or three of those squads, right?
It's
Now
hard to
they're free.
justify 40 points
Yeah,
for power fists, especially with the damage minus damage one that's out there. I don't think GW is trying to push sales here. I really don't, because there's too many examples where brand new model comes out and its rules are not great. I mean, see the Gladiators and the Storm Speeders when they
yeah,
first launched, they were terrible. So I don't think they're trying to push sales here. I think this really is. They probably took a look at who's running what lists and looking at the tournament lists that have Crusaders in them, and nobody's taking any of the special weapons, and or not taking the Crusaders at all because assault intercessors have fight twice and whatever. So I think GW's listening. They wanted us to be able to utilize our chapter strength, which is melee, with our signature unit, and I think that that's excellent. So I don't think it's a mistake either. This is definitely intentional, in my opinion, and I love it. I think it just makes us that much better for free, which is great.
yeah.
Um, so um, so yeah, really, uh, all around great point changes for us. Yeah, there was a few others. Centurion devs went down, but they're not really synergizing with us very well. A couple of the alternate land speeders went down, but they're still too expensive, in my opinion, for what you get. The basic one is still the best. Um, so, um, so yeah. Any final thoughts on the points changes, Bob?
Yeah, I think the what dropped was a beneficial added boost to our list, like the Eliminators with Last Fusils. It filled a hole that we had in our list, as mentioned, the long range, high damage weaponry. The Valiant potentially is a way to get very focused anti tank weaponry on your board for relatively cheap points. Um, you know, we got some good bonuses. Obviously the Primaris Crusader squads. If you use those, not everyone does for Black Templars players, but if you use them, it's straight up buff. To
Yep.
use those guys, and
Yep.
there's some mean lists out there already that they're kind of coming out. 5 or 6 Crusader squads with or 20-man squads. They're they're nothing to sniff at now.
Yeah.
That they can take monstrous vehicles. They're going to get stuck in. And you throw Gene Rot Might on a larger squad with the CP changes. It's more efficient to use those on the larger squads, right?
And
So
even with the -1 damage, like if you're playing against Death Guard or some of these other things, the extra strength and AP over a chainsword is definitely going to still help you, right?
yeah,
So even if you lose that damage 2 down to damage 1 because of whatever you're swinging at, you're still going to wound easier. You're still going to pen their armor easier. It's just a better weapon overall. So 100%. If you're running full melee squad, there is zero reason to not take Power Fists. So so yeah, uh, the overall, I love the changes. I think there were a lot of good things in here. And it definitely gives us as Black Templars a pretty solid boost. I know a lot of people complained about Armor of Contempt, that it didn't benefit us as much as other chapters because we had Uphold, and now it's not Uphold is not quite as good as it was. But I think of the Space Marine chapters, we are one of the ones that came out pretty high on this. I know Blood Angels got some really great drops as well. So they're probably up there with us as far as benefiting the most from these changes. So look forward to seeing everybody's list, see how this changes the shakeup on what our list looks like. see if we're running some of those new shiny free las fusels or valiants out there. So let us know what you guys think down in the comments. How did you like these changes? You know what what things are you going to be including in your list that you may not have before? um, don't forget to like and subscribe, so you can make sure that you get all of our content notifications. And check out our Discord. We have a really active community of folks with a lot of great Black Templars info and discussion every day. We also have a Patreon, and if you'd like to support us, we really appreciate it. So please check that out as well. And until next time, keep on crusading.